Here we will see implicit mode of transaction in SQL Server. In implicit mode, SQL Server takes the responsibility for beginning of the transaction implicitly, but it waits for the commit or rollback command from the user. In implicit transaction mode, the database objects involved in the transaction will remain unlocked until the commit or rollback commands are executed. In order to use the implicit transaction mode, we need to set implicit transaction mode to on. We can use the following syntax to enable or disable the implicit transaction mode. Set implicit transaction on or off. The following keyword starts a new transaction in the implicit transaction mode if it is enabled. For example, alter table, begin transaction, create, delete, and so on. For example, update employee, set first name equal to ABC where employee ID equal to 1. And when we commit the transaction, first name for the employee ID 1 is updated. The implicit transaction is a connection level setting, and we can set this setting when connecting to the SQL server. On the SQL Server Management Studio, we can determine the implicit transaction as a default transaction mode for our connections. First, click on Tools menu and from there select Options. Then find the ANSI option which is placed under the query execution and check the Set Implicit Transaction option true. After changing this setting, SQL Server Management Studio sets the new connection default transaction mode will be implicit transaction. Now we will see implicit transaction mode in SQL Server Management Studio. First we will use the database and then we will set implicit transaction mode to on. And we will execute this. Now we will insert the data to table person. For this, first we will display data from person. So select star from person. And now we will insert the data to person table. So insert into person. We will mention the fields person ID, last name, first name and address, and we will give the values as 2, last name, then first name and address, and we will execute this. It will give the message one row affected. It will show second record in this table. To confirm this insertion, we will use commit transaction. Here it will give the message commands completed successfully. Now we will insert another record in this table and we execute this and we will check the record is inserted or not. It will show third record in this table. Now we will use rollback command, and if I execute this and if I check select star from person, third record is removed from this table, only 2 records are available. Now we will execute this command again and I will display data from the person table. It will show 3 records. And now if I try to close this, it will give the message there are uncommitted transactions. Do you wish to commit this transaction? That is, if you are not give the commit transaction command, it will not save the record. If I say no here, I will use project 1 database and I will display data from person table. It will show only 2 records. Even though we have inserted the third record, since we have not committed the transaction, the record is not saved since implicit transaction mode is on.